On this episode of Green Chili Cheeseman, I sit down with the incredible Rona Walters. Born on the Isle of Skye, raised by her grandfather, and dancing ballet from the time she was 3, she spent her childhood fighting for every chance to dance. Always the first dancer, but never the prima. At 23, she walked away from ballet, found Lovecraft, and discovered her voice as a writer. Her Gothic novel, The Human Dress, became a hit in Germany, and she went on to make films like Toxica and a Harry Potter fan project. We talk reinvention, storytelling, and for the first time ever, I share my infamous London story. This one's layered, personal, and full of surprises. So sit back as the Cheeseman goes international once again. Let's get it. Cali chick from all the cannons, a whiskey swiller, gonna smoke you out. I ain't never, ever seen such a girl like that. So I don't think so. I don't think I guess with that little background, we could kind of start proper here. And I want to say thank you, Rona Walters, for joining us on Green Chili Chisme. I'm not sure if you really know what that means. Chisme is a Spanish Latin word for like gossip or talk. Like grandmas that would sit around a table drinking tea and gossiping. That's chisme. So this is basically what it is. And we started out as I really didn't know what we were when we started, and then someone really close to our company, we've been around since 2008, and someone really close to our company, a musician, passed away, and he's just a super famous person here in Texas. He's in the United States and actually around the world. He's played with the Rolling Stones and recorded with the Rolling Stones, and his name was Flaco Jimenez, and that's when it hit me that this is really should be about legacy, and I had so many opportunities to talk to him and find out the things that I'm asking my guests now on this show, and that's what this has turned into. And I don't know if you saw my post, but you've already built quite a legacy for yourself, and you're so young, you have so much more to do. So again, let's start again. I'm sorry. Rona Walters, again, welcome to Green Chili Cheeseman. Where are we finding you at?
Well, thank you for having me. It's really lovely to be in the corner. Well, where you're finding me right now is actually the south of England.
Okay. Nice.
Is my sound okay? I think I'm echoing.
Yeah, you may have a little bit of echo. I think there's a setting on yours where it's about echoing. Let me look and see. I try not to mess in here because I don't want to get the computer doing things while we're talking. Let me see here. See, it's already thinking. Recording. I'm not recording the video. I don't know. I'm not gonna mess with it. Let's just roll, and I'll deal with it in editing. A little background on you. Where were you born? And tell us about your parents, and if you remember your grandparents.
Well, I have a very different upbringing. I was born a very small island called Store. So that's in the north of Scotland. It's geographical Scotland, but it is its own little thing. It's called Skye, the Isle of Skye. And I was born there, and I did grow up with my grandfather. So I didn't really grow up in a traditional way. And I was raised by my grandfather for most of my life.
Nice. And what kind of influences do you still carry from him?
Oh, a lot. I wish I could carry more. I think he was a very strong, a very fair man with high morals, a lot of virtues. I'm not saying I don't have morals and virtues, but some, I'm sometimes the bigger problem where I could be the bigger person. So,
Right.
he was definitely a calm, kind, and just man. So I hope I got a lot of that from him in me somewhere.
Was it, I guess it was him. How did you get started? I know you probably started dancing really early. How did that get started, and what age did you start dancing?
Yeah, well, you have to start really early, to be
Right.
honest, if you want to be in ballet. So, I was about 3.5 when I just saw, like my granddad just saw like a dance class, and he said, do you wanna do something like this? Because you have a lot of energy, so maybe you want to do something with that. Um, and when I was about 4, I joined our local kind of like ballet club, and I actually did dance several times until I was about 14.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 14, my life changed significantly. So I left Skye. I went to a private school, and I had to obviously find a new place to dance ballet,
Right.
which I did, and had to kind of like make deals with the private school because being a ballerina is basically a full-time job, but
Right.
also studying at private school is also a full-time job.
Yep.
So you kind of you have to find your balance, and you'll never dance as much as the other girl. You have other things going on, but yeah, I think it was about enough for me to be mostly in like in the so-called corps de ballet, so the body of the ballet. I was
Mm-hmm.
mostly one of the people in the first row behind the Prima Ballerina. So yeah, I was dancing mostly corps. And I wanted to be a prima ballerina very bad, and unfortunately, never happened for me. But things happen or don't. So life happens as it sometimes wishes. So in that case, it didn't really work out being a prima ballerina. But yeah, I was close enough a couple of times.
I mean, dancing in front of audiences like that must be, it's just exhilarating.
Well, your head is busy. I mean, you're so busy with your choreography, with feeling of, with like uh, kind of guiding your body through the whole story, through the adventure of the story. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you don't really think about it. And if you're lucky, you have a couple of stages where you don't really see the people, so you only see like an unlit space
Right.
because you're in the limelight and they are usually unlit. So sometimes you don't even see that much, which is good and
Right.
calming.
I bet. Yeah. It's not have. Yeah, and not have all those eyes on you is what I was saying. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Um, so you're already 14, and you would go on to become a writer. So what kind of things are you reading at this age right now? I know at that time.
Well, I became a writer a bit late. I was basically a ballerina at 23-ish, and I stopped dancing because you get too old at a certain point. And I thought about what to do. What is an interesting thing to do in life. And I'm a big reader. I love books.
Yeah.
I used to work in bookshops as well, and it was just a real like a dream working with books, working with readers. And I do love classical literature. So I read a
Mm.
lot of legend. Yeah, I read a lot of like history books, which I love, like ancient history. But I'm also a very big fan of, for example, one of the authors I read is Donna Tartt, who wrote The Secret History. It's like a dark academia, kind of like 1990s book
Hmm.
about murder and mayhem and forbidden knowledge and darkness. So in in power, the dark you have that comes with knowledge. So yeah, I love dark academia. I love obviously classic gothic horror. I'm a big Jekyll and Hyde fan.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what I love. And currently, you know what? I discovered again. So I'm reading a lot of dark fantasy. I've reread the Witcher books. I'm reading. A lot about like Merlin the Enchanter, Mary Stuart. yeah, a lot of like sword and sorcery, and I like that at the moment. Maybe because winter is coming, so
Well, I've
I'm
got
more into
some
fantasy.
definitely got some recommendations for you. My writing background, the way, because reading, if you, to be a good writer, you have to be a really good reader. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
my first novel, like you, my first novel, and I was probably 10 or 11, was The Exorcist. So that's what got me started.
God.
Um, and um, and I'm like a Stephen King, you know, Stephen King's one of my favorite authors. So when I was in the military in Europe, I mean, even in school, in school, I did like camera club and yearbook club, and I was kind of always associated with that stuff. But when I went to the military and we were so much time in the field, and the unit that I was in, that just read so many books. And so one that I'm going to recommend to you is an author called David Eddings, who I think he's and he
I've heard of him.
oh my God, fantastic writer. You need to start from his beginning and go. And so my writing is like a mix of him and Stephen King. And so the Stephen King part, as far as the detail, like my first novel was, it's a series. It's called the Solomon Chronicles, and it's about, of course, it's fiction, but it's historical fiction. It's the last living blood descendant of King Solomon in the 1400s or something. And the story is about the rise of Ferdinand and Isabel to the throne, but with this different version of how things happened and why things happened, you know. And
Mhm.
so, as far as the detail, like if I name a lake in Italy, and I said, well, the turbot fish, you know, is really good fishing here in this lake. Well, you can guarantee that in that lake there's turbot fish in there. You know what I mean? That's the detail that we went into that novel. So I totally get it, and actually where I lived in Germany, I used as the backdrop for my main character because it's a Roman city, you know, and it's perfect. And so, anyways, I totally get what you're saying about that. Um, so you're in school, you're in a private school, you're doing ballerina. Did you go on to secondary school, to college?
Well, I did study literature afterwards, so I was very much into at the time Gothic literature. I still am, but
Hmm.
at the time I discovered M.R. James. I discovered the ghost stories and Gothic stories of Lovecraft, actually,
Mm,
which resonated more with me at the time than his Cthulhu madness, which I now like more, or
Cthulhu.
appreciate more. But yeah, I kind of like went on to have a academic kind of like adventure in Gothic literature, made my MA, and I think that was kind of the idea behind, or the inspiration to write, I guess, because I was an avid reader. I When I was younger, I read a lot of Goosebumps
Oh
and
yeah,
Rate of Fear Street, like my thing.
yeah, yeah. That's great
I'm such a
stories.
cliche 90s. Yeah, well, good. They were really creepy. I remember one Fear Street book. I still have it, and it's so scary. It still makes me uncomfortable to this day. So there was something I wanted to do.
Another thing going back on,
Yeah. So
uh,
I really,
I'm sorry, go
yeah.
ahead. I was just gonna say, going back on, speaking of Lovecraft, the spells that I use in my novel are all from Lovecraft, which I notate in the book. You know, all the spells are used from Love, so I know everything that you're talking about. And some portions of the book, the spells are just so crazy, but I have the action that's going on around them, the spells that they're incanting, and it's just, oh yeah, it's. I'll have to send you a copy of that book. um,
Ooh, yes.
so
Yeah,
that's
he did perfect.
okay.
he did perfect a lot of ideas that came before from, for example, like Algernon Blackwood, you
Mm-hmm.
know, or Arthur Machen, who already wrote about weird and nature turning against humanity, like eco horror we call it today. So he was basically a guy who just picked up, you know, or Ambrose Bierce especially, he picked up those picks and was very much inspired by those authors. And it's funny we call it now Lovecraftian, but he
Right.
was probably the last author to put it all together. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Such good writing. Good writing. Okay, so you're in
Yeah.
college, and now you stopped dancing at what age again?
About 23. Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
decided.
I didn't I went again to, you know, become a prima ballerina, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get the role again. I was just always the alternate. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like 3 years in a row I was an alternate.
Yeah.
So when the prima falls ill, or you cross your fingers that she breaks her ankle and you can jump in
Right.
for her. So that's basically what it is. But you never really, you know, the star. You go through the same process. You get all the beautiful dresses on and everything, but you never, you know, you're not probably not gonna wear it.
Right.
So I was already 23, and at that age, I wanted to be more than what I was. And so I just thought, okay, I'm getting too old. I'm not, you know, I don't want to always be just one of the little ducklings in the background.
Right.
And so yeah, I basically focused on literature and Gothic literature in particular. Went to university, and yeah, and just really did a couple of work and travel programs. And back in the days you still had those. I don't think you have those anymore.
Yeah,
But
no.
back in the days you could sign up to travel about 8 countries in 8 years, and
Wow.
that's what I did. So I just traveled, studied literature, worked in bookshop, and started writing really my own story.
That is so nice. So your first story, your first published work was
The Human Dress,
The Human Dress.
which is insane. It is an insane
It
kind
sounds
of
insane.
body horror,
I have to
BDSM,
look that up.
gothic
The Human
horror
Dress.
fiction. That is, the setting is actually the Isle of Skye, right? What do you know?
Right.
And it's a lot about very specific ancient and fairy characters that dwell in the old ancient woods. And I used all of that to go into like a bit of body horror and very twisted, weird fiction of adventure in a mortician in a funeral home with a mortician as a main character.
Oh,
So it was really wild. It was really out there.
it sounds insane. I mean, just
Yeah,
the title alone gets your
it
attention.
is. Yeah, no, it's definitely wild. And but I thought, hey, you know, just for fun. And it never got published on the English market. It got published for a while in America
Mm-hmm.
and in Australia, and then it was bought and translated for the German-speaking market, where it made huge waves.
Oh,
So it became like a legit bestseller in everywhere they speak German, which was massive. For some reason, they really liked it. Yeah, and that kind of made me like for a couple of years made me like quite popular and quite successful in Gothic horror and weird
nice.
fiction.
It landed your name in there. So did you continue writing, or when did you start moving into film?
Oh, I did write, or I did publish a novel wrote before, but published second, which was like a dark fairy tale, Snow White, Bluebeard kind of thing, very
Oh,
Angela Carter, you know, very like also body horror-ish. And that came out, and it did okay. And then I was mainly featured in a couple of anthologies.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, you know, like just writing short stories, and wrote two more novels which were published and did okay. But The Human Dress was just like that was my one hit wonder kind of thing, which
Right.
was sold until many, many years later, which was very surprising. So that was really cool. I think also my other books are slightly better, but for some reason, maybe the stories aren't that good. But
Exactly.
for some reason, the human dress was just favorite.
Wow, that's, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm gonna have to pick that up. I'm gonna have to pull that up because I really, just the
yeah,
title alone, and I'm telling you. Um, of course, it's already made so much noise for you. So tell me about Toxica.
oh dear. Um, well, Toxica was really a very unique adventure, so I try not to have a nervous breakdown while I talk about
Oh,
it. No worries. Um, but Toxica was basically a product of of a lot of thought and ideas at the time. So I basically went into filmmaking with a short film based on my second book about Snow White and Bluebeard, and it was produced in Germany, which was absolutely stunning, beautiful costumes, such a
hmm,
beautiful thing. Not the best thing I ever made, obviously, but it got me into filmmaking. And after that, I worked mostly in horror documentary, historical documentary, haunted Irish pubs and things like that, and also music videos. I made a lot of music videos for EBM, gothic, industrial music,
nice.
like new metal, stuff like that. Uh, yeah, and worked mostly for labels, so that would be fun. And I then worked on a short film by my boyfriend who made like a Blade Runner thing called Clay's Redemption, which was really good. And I did costumes for it. I did a bit of location scouting, location design, just character design. Yeah, and after that, I thought maybe I can gather all my skills because as an indie person, you basically have to be able to do everything, like from
Everything.
costumes to props to everything. You edit your own thing,
Yep.
you make your own music, everything. So yeah, we made a couple of short films in between. So we made like a ghost story in between and a Harry Potter fan film,
Oh.
which was fun about Minerva McGonagall when she was young. So and
Uh-oh.
she was yeah, defender of crime. So
Oh,
that was
that's
really good.
cool.
Um,
Um,
that was really fun and all like balls. Yeah, it was.
in
And
either.
I think when I
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no no it's fine. No, but think when Minerva the Minerva fan film, I thought maybe we can do something more. We have a lot of friends who work in practical effects, who work for Alien franchise and all these things, and make proper monsters and everything. And I thought I'm gonna do a Lovecraftian kind of story, horror story, slow burn, because you don't have money for, like
Right.
doing action movie. So we kind of like went and said that my boyfriend and I and said, okay, we don't have any money, we don't have any invested at that point. We're gonna sit down and reverse engineer the whole thing.
Oh.
So we just made a list of what we had and who we had and what we could make ourselves and wrote everything down and basically wrote the story around those elements
See,
and said,
that's
okay, we can make a big prop plant that will move and it's made of body parts. Or, we have a guy who owns vintage cars and motorbikes. We have stunt people, we met people who needed credits in film who said, hey, I just want to get into the industry somehow.
yep.
So yeah, we all teamed up with those people, actors who did dance, or actors who wanted to play something different. Yeah, and just put it all together and reverse engineered the whole thing without really having a story. We had a plot. We literally wrote scenes and dialogue and everything on the spot. And in the beginning, that was easy. you start slow and easy and you just start somewhere. And we try to film a bit chronologically just to find out where do we end up. Um, and then you obviously have the indie film problem that people don't turn up who
Right.
signed on for. Things go wrong. You miss your train. We had a thunderstorm, couldn't get out of London. You don't get a location, so all these things. And our lead actress decided she wanted to go to Hollywood and wasn't really that interested anymore.
Oh no.
Um, I guess you go on halfway through the movie. So we had to rewrite, at a certain point, we had to rewrite the whole story and say, okay, let's reverse engineer with what we have and kind of like save the whole thing in the edit. See that we shoot as much cool stuff as possible
Right.
and save it in post, basically. Something you never do. But hey, you're now invested for like 3 months. I was writing on it for 5, 6 months, researching, getting locations, everything, making costumes. So at some point you can't go back. And that was the point where we said, okay, if we don't do anything now, we don't have any movie, we just wasted time, literally. And people,
People's time and your time.
so we said we have to finish it one way or another. And so yeah, so we shot what we could, called in a lot of favors, and just really finished the movie with a new protagonist, with switching out. I mean, that happened before. I think Richard Stanley did it at Hardware, his first movie, where you have the male hero, and in the end, like halfway through the movie, he dies, and she becomes the hero. So God knows what happened.
Right.
Things happen. People drop out or whatever, especially when you don't have money. So yeah, that was interesting. And then we basically put it all together as much as we could in post, and build a story. 30% of the story, I would say, in
And that was a short film,
that was a feature
a
film.
feature film. Have you ever done?
Mm,
I don't know if they have them and I'm sure they have them in the UK, but the 48-hour film project.
I did two of those,
So
yeah.
this reminds me a lot of
That's a
that.
perfect break. It is that, and I think if we would have done two 48-hour challenges, I think we wouldn't be able to make that movie. I think I would have just quit, and because it was so much. It was a crew of 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was literally myself, my boyfriend, and 2 friends,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. It was 4 people making an entire feature. Everybody did everything. It was like 5-on-1 fights, long shot, no edit, no cuts in the fight, like all of these things, practical effects. They just topped up a little bit with like VFX, what we could do at the time. Today you probably AI the thing, but
Right.
then you just did what you could with special effects.
And it's crazy about reverse engineering because we were supposed to film. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to yell. We were supposed to film a project this month. But my co-director and the
Hmm.
president of a film for my company, he was in a vehicle accident, and so he's recovering in Kentucky, and so we're not going to be able to do that right now. And I'm looking at another project. I'm a drama writer. I write drama. I can't do your stuff. I wish I could. Um, but it's as far as locations and backgrounds, drama is much easier. Um, and so what I'm doing now with an actress that I've worked with before, she's actually in Hollywood now. Um, Reverse engineering. I got all this equipment from when I moved from Texas to Albuquerque. I was pre-COVID. I moved all my film company was, and the music stayed in Texas, but the film part moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I bought all this camera equipment and lighting equipment and audio equipment and all this stuff to start a television show called Route 66 Foodies Who Rock. And I had the whole season booked with guest artists, Grammy Award winners, Academy Award winners, symphony directors, actors, people who are coming through, and It was a cooking show, but it was more than that. It was kind of like what I'm doing here, a legacy thing, your grandmother's recipe and da 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 da. Um, but COVID hit, and like 2 weeks before we were supposed to shoot our first episode, everything shut down. And so, as time went on, I
Yeah.
had to sell off equipment, and I still got a couple of cameras. I got my audio and my lighting. And I'm gonna take that to California, and I sent her a script recently that we're gonna shoot what we can. Like you're saying, it costs $70 to take a train from here to LA, and
Yeah.
shoot for a weekend and then come back and then go back
Yeah.
and shoot for a weekend and come back. Um, and yeah, using her home, so all those scenes that are in somebody's house, it's her house, it's
Yes, exactly.
and you don't have
Yeah, we
time,
used friend houses.
no
Yeah,
no
exactly. We literally
pressure.
just used what we had. It was the coolest thing you possibly could get for a favor.
Right,
That's basically how you get a movie made if you don't have investors or you don't own enough money.
right. And the only person that's like, not the only person, but other than calling favors, I am paying our DP at a super, super, super low rate. Let me tell you, because he is like a franchise guy. He's done the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was Star Trek, Star Wars, Dante's Peak. His name's Dave Hardberger,
Nice.
and he's our DP. And so, and we're gearing this to do specifically to try and get into the awards. That's what we're doing.
Hmm.
And so, he's a voting member of the Academy, so he has his friends, and hey. So we have
Very good.
everything lining up, and we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm doing the same thing, though, reverse engineering and taking what we
Yeah,
have and using that. And single camera
absolutely.
shots, maybe two camera shots. That's it. I don't need more than two cameras. Um,
Yeah.
so,
No, really, and it's the only way to get stuff done if you have a very unique or something you don't want to compromise, you know, like because we did have people said, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" I said, "Well, that wouldn't be my movie," and
yep.
I'm the one who has to spend most time making it. You worked in it an hour and a half, and I had spent years making it, so I'd rather make something that is as close to my own vision as possible
Yeah.
and as close to my fields of interest, you know.
Yeah. I have to send you our last 48. That's probably my most favorite film that we've made. It actually got because we used our music. We have a band also. That's what I was telling you, the music part of our company. So we use music from our album in our film. That's what the whole object of our company was. We're going to make films. We're going to put our music in. We're going to write. We're going to do everything. Um,
Yeah,
and then
we do that now at the moment.
yeah, I mean, it's the best. The theme song to this podcast is from our second album. So, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, we got to send you that film because we did it from. They gave us the concept, the names, and the concept we had to use, and we finished it in 18 hours, beginning to end, from the first opening scene to that's a wrap, 18 hours. And
Oh,
because the one we did year before, we didn't get it in time, so we were late, and so we were like, we're not going to be late this time. But we did it in 18 hours, and it's the only film at that 48 that got two standing ovations. One at a towards the end, the climax. There's an accordion riff that grandpa and a girl and his granddaughter, run and embrace each other, and as we were laying and editing it, it just we laid it in there, and then we played it to see, and it was perfectly laid in. It was, I mean, right at the crescendo was when they joined, and it was. So I have to send that to you. 18 hours. That's probably the most. And then again, two stand ovations, and that. But we didn't win. Anyways,
doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. It really
Matter.
doesn't. So let's get back to you. What was the first piece of Oh, man, you've done so much. I was gonna say the normal question is, what was the first piece that you created that made you feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing? So let's go to the writing because that's probably the one that's gonna resonate with you.
Hmm. You know, it is. Look, a very typical woman, so I'm changing my mind a lot. Um, I think I have two projects because I think after Toxica, just like you guys, we finished basically 3 days before COVID.
Mm.
So that already derailed my plans I
Yep.
had for Toxica. So the plan was we had an investor who would pay for our post production, who dropped out.
Oh.
So we had to kind of like find money in a completely COVID-stricken Western world,
Mm.
and that didn't really work out too well. So we did make the movie, but I have to say it really cost me a lot of strength, a lot of belief in my own uh, craft, maybe. So it left me a little bit shattered, I have to say, and I didn't want to have anything to do with movies anymore. So we went into NFTs, and I know it's very controversial,
Yep.
but at the time it was the big thing, you know. You always have that big thing, and at the time NFTs, and we became actually in fact the first ever feature film to be completely released as an NFT, like
Oh
90
wow.
minutes as an NFT. So that hadn't been done before, and we were the ones who took the technology we had and basically built technology we needed on top of that with
Wow.
a technical team, and mint like gave people the opportunity to make a full movie, which worked out really well, very well. However, the whole NFT thing went down. And in that time I spent with NFT people and in crypto, I had time to just look at the movie from a different perspective, looked
Mm-hmm.
at myself from a different perspective, because you get a lot of feedback, you get a lot of opinions from people. You meet very different people who have nothing in common but NFT, you know, like dabbling with NFTs. And I think that was a time where I thought, okay, what am I gonna do apart from finding my mind and my sanity again after making the movie? So, you know, now NFTs didn't work out because, you know, things changed there as well in the world, and a lot of things at the same time. It didn't resonate very well with the NFT world,
Right.
realm of crypto. So you have to find a new way. Once again, you have to reinvent yourself. And I did what I did before with my first book. So I wrote another insane novel. I just didn't care who published it. I didn't care what people think about it. I just went completely crazy. And it's my first self-published novel,
Oh.
proudly so. Um, and it's about vampires and black magic and teenage girls going crazy in the late 90s. So it's very like also again body horror. It's very dark, but it's also about having morals, having virtues, and if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have them, how do things work out for you? You know, it's
Mm.
a little bit philosophical as well at times. Um, I guess. So you obviously having been a teenage girl in the 90s, you have a lot to think about. And
That's true.
you know, um, things you know today, how have reacted then. Yeah, so you
Right.
see it through your adult eyes as an observer of this insanity that teenage girls do, you know, and live. So yeah, that was basically my book. It's called Feral Forever.
Feral
Oh,
forever.
I made a t-shirt.
Oh.
Feral
Oh
Forever.
yeah, that's on your webpage.
Yes.
I love that. I love
So
that
I made
picture.
a long t-shirt. It's really cool. Yeah, and I made myself a t-shirt so just
Nice.
to wear it because I'm very proud of it. I like it a lot. I think it came out quite well. So yeah,
Is it getting any attention? Are you
that's.
are you getting it out there?
I'm trying. I mean, every now and then I see people buy a Kindle
Mm-hmm.
version, or I think I sold 10 or so paperbacks, which is fine. I'm not really having a lot of, but it's okay. Every now and then I send it out to people, say, hey, you want to review it? Or
Right.
friends buy it and share it on social media. So yeah, that's okay.
And actually, have you thought about Audible? Having it done as an Audible book?
I was thinking about it. I need someone who has a great American voice. So
Well, let me
I
tell
need someone
you,
to do that.
if you go through Amazon, I got my first novel was the Solomon Chronicles. The first book, book one, was read by. Okay, it's already been 3 years, so this is 2021. I guess it was 2021. Award winner for reading of historical fiction novels, because that's my novel is historical fiction. So he was the award winner.
Hmm.
I forgot what the name of the award is, but for all historical fiction readers, he is the top guy, and I got him.
Oh
It was a
wow.
thousand dollars. That was it, $1,000. So you can find them and negotiate with them to have
Yeah.
read, and then you send and you. It's a step by step, man. You send them a chapter, and then or if you want to re-edit whatever you want to do before you send it to them, you can send it to them, and so
Hmm.
it's. I'll send you. Oh, I got through Audible they have like 100 ones where I can give it away. If you review it, you gotta throw a review in there. So I gotta tell you, at the beginning of this novel, it's a little heady because there's a little bit of religious stuff that I had to get through in order to get to the crux of the story, which is the
Hmm.
blood descendant of King Solomon walking the earth and in the 1400s helping Queen Isabella and become the Queen of Spain. This is what it's about. Um, but it's good versus evil. It's the evil and the Lovecraft evil is what we're talking about here. So there's a lot of
Yes.
spells and a lot of incantations, and it's all in Europe. I lived in Europe for 10 years. I lived over there when I was in the military. And the one story I have to tell you about London
Yes.
before we're getting close to our ending here. So me and a friend of mine when I was in the military, we went to London. Um, we were going through customs, and we ran into this American girl who was, I didn't really think these things happened, but she was backpacking by herself through Europe, and so she decided to hook up with us, and it was better with three of us than separately, and so it was cheaper to get a room together, so we got a room with three beds and da 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 da. So the first night, we were actually in the tram, and we saw a sign for the world's largest discotheque. This is in the 80s. So me and Bobby were like, oh, okay, we're going. That's where we're going. We're going there tonight. So we went to the hotel, got dressed, da, da, da. We all went our separate ways. She went her way, we went our way. I remember walking into the place. I don't remember the name of it. I remember walking in and ordering a drink, and then I woke up in a restroom with my pants down around my legs, sitting on the toilet, and I had no idea where the hell I was. This is the first time I've told this story. I'm telling it live on the air, or not live, but I'm putting it out there. And I had vomit everywhere. And this is the 80s. I was wearing white pants. Okay, so this is already terrible, terrible, terrible. I clean myself up, get it in the restroom. I'm in the restroom. I go out of the restroom, and it's a Chinese restaurant that is closed. So I was in the bathroom of a restaurant that was closed.
Oh dear.
I go back to the restroom. The only way to get out is this window that's probably the width of my shoulders. Little square window that probably hasn't been open since World War freaking II. And again, I'm telling you, white pants, now they're all wet because I'm trying to clean off. So I crawl through this window, now just streaked in black on my white pants and puke on my white pants. And I get out of the window and I'm on a freaking rooftop. A rooftop. So I'm in some Chinese restaurant that was upstairs somewhere. And I had to jump from, I'm so lucky that I was in shape. I had to jump from one roof because there was no ladder to get down. The ladder was on another building across. So I had to jump from one roof to the other roof to climb down the ladder. I climbed down the ladder. I still had my wallet. I still had all my money. I still had my hotel stuff. Somebody slipped me something, you know. I flagged down a hotel. I mean a taxi. And I give them the card. They'll take me here. And so when I get to the hotel, my friend Bobby and that girl were coming downstairs. They had been out all night looking for me. So before I saw them, I come into the hotel and this freaking English dude, you know, you Englishmen, those Englishmen, I come in looking like that, okay? And he goes, "Hello, mate. Have a rough night of it." And I was like, yeah. And then they came down the stairs and they were like, "Where were you?" And so that was my London adventure. I didn't.
See, that needs to be a script.
Oh my
Kind of a
God.
fool. Is that one? I don't know.
Um, yeah, and one drink. The first drink had to have been something in there in the first drink.
Yeah.
And then I don't even
Oh,
know
that's it.
where I was in a restaurant on the third floor of who knows what. That's my London story. Um, we have kept you so long. I got a couple more questions here. I had to get that one in to tell you. I haven't told that story in so long, and you would appreciate it because you're there. Um, so,
That's insane.
uh,
Sounds like a normal London night out.
oh, I guess. um, let's. What do you hope that people feel when they see your work?
That's a question. I think that has changed lately, if I'm honest. Before that, I think with short films or feature films, it was more about unapologetically entertain. I just want you to have a good time. If you don't love it, fine, but you had 85 minutes of, not thinking about your life,
Right.
or, just you just entered my world, and I hope you had a good time. Um, Today, I have changed a lot in that respect because, or not changed, more shifted, I guess, because I no longer make feature film. I still have the gray hair from that one, so I'm happy now with healing from that experience. But I help my boyfriend making his. He just made a musical coming of age, kind of like boys growing up film, which is very much inspired by the Beatles. Like something a bit more like lighter, but also hopefully very inspirational. So that I did some costumes for it. I'm in it.
Hey,
I can't act, but I'm in it. He needed someone in the corner, so there I
nice.
but uh, I think when it comes to filmic adventures, I'm now back in documentary completely. So I do a lot of historical stuff. I do a lot of gothic. I just made one about the white dress and horror, what it all means. So that will come out probably in a year or two.
Oh,
I haven't really edited yet, but I think what I focus on right now is really a feature-length documentary called Fantasy with a G, and it's about the vampire in the mirror from all aspects of legends or philosophy, psychology, history,
nice.
biology, anything people can think of. So, does the vampire see himself in the mirror? If not, why? If so, why? So we're going into insane directions with that. Like we interviewed Dacre Stoker, who is a lovely friend. He's the great grandson of
Brom.
Bram Stoker. I interviewed a couple of friends like Kim Newman, who wrote Anno Dracula, which is an amazing historical or revision Victorian England story with Dracula. So he's a dear friend, and yeah, a couple of people, who dominate and dwell in the vampire community. Because I used to be in the vampire community in the early 2000s, and you meet interesting people. So we have a couple of those in there. People who make fangs, or do have these amazing vampire ball events, and all these people
That's cool.
are authors, musicians. So yeah, all of these people will share their ideas about it. And what I think is my goal is not to really only entertain. I mean, that obviously will be part of it, right? Hopefully. But I think the goal is more in a world like today of saying, what if this would happen? Or what if that idea was valid? What do you like? Make people think about it, have their ideas, have their own thoughts about something, and disagree with some of our people, if think something insane, or in your opinion it doesn't make sense, and talk about it, leave the filmic event, talk about, maybe brainstorm. So I think it's more of an inspiration of all I'm thinking.
Nice, yeah. I'm gonna have to pick your brain on the documentary side because I'm gearing up to start my first. And it's I'm the my eighth great grandfather was the first surgeon of the New World. His name was Diego Pedraza, and
No.
yeah, he was actually a surgeon on one of Hernan Cortez's expeditions, the only surgeon, and he actually he's responsible for helping build the first hospital in the New World, the Hospital of Jesus, which is still in operation in Mexico City.
Wow. Yeah. There you go. That is something.
Yeah.
That's that idea. Like, because people, I feel there's a lot of there, and it's always important to share something people did not know. Something, a new idea, share a new idea, and tell people, look, if you look a little bit deeper, or if you look a little bit farther, maybe discover something that is a little bit looser from the mainstream,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Totally does. Yeah, so I may have to pick your brain on the exact path that we want to take on this. And I have a really good friend. She was our week 2 guest on this podcast. We've only released like 4. And I think yours is going to be like week 12. This one will come out in week 12 and sometime in December, I think. But she's a Grand Ole Opry star, and she lives part-time in Mexico, really close to where my grandfather grew up. And so she's going to be she's helping me. She's like my other half on this. She speaks Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, which is crazy because I was raised not to speak Spanish. Assimilation, da 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 da. I'm second generation American, and right now that means nothing with what's going on in in the world right now here in the States. But yeah, she's helping me with that. She's going to do the music. She's the first
Amazing.
Latina to bring a mariachi group to the Grand Ole Opry. And
That's great.
and so yeah, her interview, if you have a chance, go back and listen to it. She actually, she made me cry. She made me cry because her story is just so crazy, crazy, crazy. Anyway, so I know your time is limited here. Is there something out
But
there?
these are stories you wanna, these are the stories you want to get, married to for a while, because the stories worth telling, and there's no point like getting into a project where you lose interest after a while, or where you say people don't want to watch it. You can't just think about what people want to see. And I think that is something I really love. That we are able to do projects that are important to us. Because
Yeah.
if we love it, and if we can talk in a good way, in an entertaining way, and engage people, then we've done our only job.
My angle here is it's a personal thing because it's my personal family, but it's also a medical thing. I need to get those people back in me. The first surgeon of the new
Yeah.
world. You know what they had before that? They had barber surgeons. Are you familiar with a barber surgeon?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And what
You
my
pulled your tooth, right? Yeah.
exactly. Um, and my, Diego Pedraza was responsible for Hernan Cortez wanted it only for Spanish people, for his soldiers. That's what he wanted the hospital for. And my ancestor fought that, and he was like, no, it has to be for everybody, the indigenous people as well. So yeah, it's a story that's important, and there's been stuff written out there about it. There's a building in Mexico City that's an apartment building that was his house that has a plaque on it on the side of his building that's an apartment building now, but was his house. Think about that. That's huge. Anyways, is there something in all your art that you've done that you wish more people knew about?
I think it's what I hope people know about will come up soon. I think, for one, this is fantasy, my vampire dog. I hope that people will catch it when it comes out, which will be next year. I have no idea yet what will happen. How we release it, see how the world changes
Yeah.
until then, and see what happens. What's our opportunity, and our options. But I do wish for people to really have a look at my latest novel. Really out there. It's really unique. It has a couple of really crazy ideas that might, change your perspective on some things, or just make you think about certain aspects of life, and of moral, and of virtues a little bit differently, I guess. So yeah, if anybody likes vampire girls and black, I guess Carol Forever is cool.
Where is that available at?
It's on Amazon,
Okay.
and I think it's also Barnes Nobles.
Okay.
So yeah, it's widely available online.
Yeah. I have to. I'm gonna have to get that one too. I freaked out when I saw my book was on sale in Africa. I was like, "What? They have a copy of
Mhm.
my book in Africa, in a bookstore in Africa."
Mine too.
It's weird,
Mine
right?
too. It was insane. Yeah, like the human dress did very well in South Africa for some reason. I have no idea how.
That's
It
kind of
sold most
scary.
copies in South Africa.
That's crazy.
Nobody knows. Yeah.
Okay, Miss Walter, I've held you so long. Our last question here is,
No.
when did you realize the word legacy, and what does it mean to you now?
That is a really new thing for me, to be honest. Um, I didn't really think about legacy at all until recently. The thing, I'm not a parent. I'm a step parent, so I don't have that built in. Okay, these are my legacy. My
Right.
children are my legacy. Um, I sometimes thought my legacy would be my sisters would probably be around forever.
Hmm.
Um, but I also believe my legacy is, especially now that I'm older. I've now turned 40, and I think now, as a creative person, my life has changed a lot. So now
Right.
my legacy might actually be the thoughts I'm getting out into the world. Um, Example for the vampire Arc, or my historical documentaries and gothic documentaries, just to show people something that takes them out of reality for a moment, like I mentioned before.
Right.
And I think that is a legacy, that people will remember, not necessarily me, but maybe remember a documentary and they come across it in 20 years or 30 years,
Yeah.
if movies are still a thing then, then
Yeah. Who
and
knows?
see and say, hey, back in the 2020s, we thought vampire was a mirror image because silly sausages. So, I think it's just entertainment and making people think a little bit. I'd say that would be my legacy. And yeah, I think legacy means not only me as a person being etched into history or something. I think it's more the feelings people have when they watch or read my thing, my creative output.
Yes. Nice. I have a big saying as a writer: no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader.
Very true. No,
Yeah.
it's really true. All emotions you feel, and that's why it's so important to choose a project that you truly, truly love
Yeah.
and you don't fall out of love with in next week or next month. Because reader, although it's pen and paper, ink paper, the reader feels it.
Right.
I don't know how they feel it. I know more how they could feel it in a filming project, but I think in a book you can feel it
You
if
can.
the author has true love for the topic or the theme or the story. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's very, very important.
When the main character's wife of my novel dies, sudden, it's hard. Killing off people you like, it's so hard. And I remember bawling my eyes out writing it.
Yeah, it's in these scenes or these moments in books, the exorcisms.
Mm-hmm.
I've exercised myself so much in my books, and really write, and it's something completely different every time. And that's the thing. And it's a very, very good way of letting it all out. If
Yeah.
that's positive or if that's heartbreaking, or it's maybe you want to ponder a little bit about the world and just philosophize about the things. And I think it's a very, very good outlet for these kind of because as a creative, they have
Right.
a lot of emotions
Yep.
all the time.
All the time. And with that, we will end it there, Miss Walter. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing your documentary. You have to come back when that comes out.
I would love to. Yes, I'll talk about it.
Yes, fantastic. We have a good afternoon. I know it's getting late to the evening over there.
Oh, it's fine, but thank you so much for making me a great afternoon. It was wonderful talking to you.
You have a great day and take care.
You too.
Bye bye.
Speak soon, Dave.
Bye.
Bye bye.
I'll send that stuff to you.